Hi class, my name is Victoria Amsberry, and I'm going to be answering question 3 from chapter 4 and discussing it with you. First, I wanted to read you my question, and my question was to gather a selection of hospitality and travel advertisements. Which factors have been used to attract customers in these ads? How effectively have these factors been used? And what could have been done to improve the impact of these ads on customers' perceptions? As we learned in Chapter 4, there are two main factors that really influence the behavior of individual customers. These two factors are personal and interpersonal factors. First, as defined on page 99 of our textbook, personal factors are the psychological characteristics of the individual, whereas interpersonal factors, as defined on page 114, represent the outside influence of other people. These factors are very important in our industry for marketers to understand. But first I wanted to review with you what the interpersonal factors are and what the personal factors are. First, the interpersonal factors are cultures and subcultures, reference groups, social classes, opinion leaders, and the family. As you can tell, each of these factors really influence humans on their day-to-day lives and what services they partake in. Personal factors are needs, wants, motivation, perception, learning, personality, lifestyle, and self-concept. All of these factors are extremely important and are defined in depth in our textbook, but the main factor that I'm going to define and discuss with you today is perception. With perception, customers will always use their 5 senses. And as our book explained, decisions are made more on how customers perceive the facts than on the facts themselves. And so perception was defined in our textbook on page 105 as the cognitive impression that is formed of reality, which in turn influences the individual's actions and behavior towards that object. There are 4 different perceptual processes in which we partake in. The first is perceptual screens or filters. The second is perceptual biases. The third is selective retention. And the fourth is closure. I would go over all of these terms with you, but I'm sure you learned about them in our book. I just don't have the time. The main one I'm going to be focusing on is the perceptual screens. There are many tactics that marketers in our industry use in order to get through our perceptual screens. These tactics are size, color, intensity, movement, position, contrast, isolation, texture, shape, and surroundings. And I'm sure by looking at most of these terms, you can get an idea of what exactly they are. All of these terms pertain to advertisements and how marketers really draw in the customer's attention. All of these terms are found and can be defined in our textbook on pages 108 through 110. And these terms are what really brings me to my first advertisement. My first advertisement is for the Cosmopolitan Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. The first thing I wanted to point out about this ad is the size. It is clearly on a billboard. Being on a billboard is very beneficial because it's more likely that customers are going to see it. And that's the thing that is very important to know about size, is sometimes the bigger the better. And people really perceive things, with the bigger advertisements, think that they're going to have a bigger experience at that hotel. I also wanted to point out how they kind of use dark colors in this advertisement. And I think that is very important because, people go to Las Vegas and kind of a dark side of them comes out and they do things that they wouldn't normally do. So I think that's important because color can be very important for customers because a lot of things nowadays aren't in black and white because, it just doesn't appeal to people. I also wanted to point out the contrast used in this advertisement. the way that the words at the bottom are big and bold and in white, they just really pop out and stand out to your eye, which is definitely important for an advertisement on a billboard, because if the words are short and sweet and to the point, people are going to read them real quickly as they drive by. And I think these words are perfect to use in a place like Sin City. These words say just the right amount of wrong. And I think this is just important because, people really do go to Las Vegas to let loose and to participate in just the right amount of misbehavior. And nobody has to know about it, because what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So I think that this definitely is a good phrase for the Cosmopolitan to be using, but it definitely does attract just a certain kind of audience. It's definitely for the older people that are looking to go spontaneously and just have a good time and let loose, and it definitely wouldn't attract families. I also just wanted to point out the surroundings of this billboard. The image is of a bunch of adults kind of misbehaving, laying across the tables, drinking, and I think that, that's kind of what people are going to perceive the Cosmopolitan to be like. And I'm not sure if that's necessarily how it's going to be. I've never been to the Cosmopolitan, but I will be going in 1 week, so I'll let you know if that really is how the whole experience at the Cosmopolitan is. So the main factors used in this advertisement were size, color, contrast, and surroundings. I think these factors were used very effectively, but I do think that some factors could have been added in order to attract a larger audience. And I think one of the ways they could have done that was maybe by changing the background image. But if this is what the Cosmopolitan is all about, then I definitely think that this is an effective ad and really plays a good role on customers' perceptions. My second ad is from the Seagate Hotel and Spa in Florida, and I think right off the bat this ad really triggers just a specific audience. With there being a newly married couple on the beach, I think it really kind of turns me away, because that's not at the point where I'm at in my life right now, and I think it really triggers young couples or just married couples or people going on their honeymoon or people that want to get married on the beach. And so I think this ad definitely does a good job attracting those people. One of the other things I wanted to point out in this advertisement, and a factor that they use, was contrast. Again, by the way, they have barefoot on the beach, bold and in black underneath the people's feet. This actually kind of could attract anyone, because who doesn't love being barefoot on the beach? So I just wanted to point that out, because I think that was definitely a good factor that they used. Also, the surroundings is, something that's awesome. Everyone loves the beach, and that could always attract anyone. But the main thing I wanted to point out about this ad that I didn't like was that they put one of their main phrases right here at the very bottom, and it says, "We'll be with you every step of the way." I think this phrase is extremely important and shouldn't just be thrown down at the bottom of the screen with all the other like sponsors, phone numbers, the email, the address, all that, because a lot of people go on vacation today and they want the hotel to kind of take care of things for them, and they want to just relax to the fullest and not have to worry about anything. So I think that was a poor job for this hotel to throw that at the very bottom as if it's really not that big of a deal. Another thing I wanted to point out about this advertisement is the isolation. And isolation, as defined in our textbook, is having a border around the image to make it really pop out. I think they did a good job by picking white, because it kind of pulls out color from the wedding dress, and it just really, kind of separates the image from other advertisements. If this was in a magazine or some type of hotel magazine, I think they did a good job by doing that. And so I think out of my 3 advertisements, this was probably the most poor advertisement. And I think that's just because it's not very attractive to the eye with all the extra writing at the bottom and the sponsors included. So my third advertisement is for travelplanet24.com, and I actually went to that website, and it's like a kayak but in another language. So I thought that was very interesting that this is one of their ads and it's in English, and to be honest, I think this is one of the better ads I found. First, I wanted to kind of point out the relaxing colors and just the image and the surroundings itself just really draws in anyone who wants to take a vacation, and it attracts a huge audience, not just a specific audience. So I think that is very important, especially when you're trying to bring in anyone and not just a specific group. I wanted to point out the words that they use in this advertisement. It really drew me in. The first line is, "You travel with your mind every day." We can all relate to that. That is definitely the truth. Our mind is always wandering, and it's always taking us places that we wish we could actually go. So I think that this was just a very creative ad. And then it has, "Wouldn't it be nice if your body could follow?" And there are two brains sitting in the chairs. And I thought that was just one of the funniest things, like this ad caught my attention because it made me laugh, and it just made me really want to go on a vacation. So I think they did a very effective job on using the factors contrast and I don't know exactly how big this image is, but it's definitely a good size because there's no other big bulky sponsors or writing at the bottom, which I did appreciate. So I definitely think this was one of the better advertisements that I had found, just because it's so appealing to the eye, and it really attracted me, and it made me perceive that if I were to book with this company or go through this website, I could find a really relaxing and awesome place like this image, and it would be easy for me to find a place like that. So those are my 3 ads that I wanted to show with you today, and I hope you had gained something from my presentation. But lastly, I wanted to show you my works cited and the resources I used. First, I used our textbook, and I just really used that to read the chapter, grasp a real knowledge about the factors used by marketers in our industry, and to really just define those terms for you. I also used YouTube to post this video so all of you can watch it. I used Screencast-O-Matic, and it was my first time using this program, and I really did enjoy it. I'll probably be using it again. It was very easy and just made everything very smooth. Another resource was the Creative Media, which I found my ad for the Seagate Hotel and Spa. I used the Daily Billboards website to find that ad for the Cosmopolitan in Las Vegas. And then the TravelPlanet24.com website is where I did end up finding my final ad for you. Being the one of the guinea pigs of this project, I really hope you learned something, and I hope it was interesting for you to watch, and I can't wait to watch all of your presentations, and I'm very excited to be a part of this online class. So far it looks like it's going to be a really great learning experience. So I hope the rest of you have a wonderful rest of your day, and thanks for watching. I appreciate it.